Hello, this is Jacqueline with Creative Paper Crafting with Jackie. How are you tonight? It's Friday night. I'm just going to shut off my heat because it's making a lot of noise. And I am doing my project for SheepSki Designs. And this is Beach Hut Holiday. Beach Hut Holiday. And I think it's just, I love this image. So I see that there's a couple of people on. Oh, hi Fatima, how are you? Trying to see who's on. You know, I can only, oh, there's Sharon. Hi Sharon. So if you're on and you say hi, I can see who it is. Otherwise, I don't know who it is that's on. But this is Beach Hut Holiday. And I selected this image because it reminded me of when I was a child. And I used to visit my grandparents in England. My grandmother lived in Kent, and my grandfather lived in Dover. So we used to go to Margate often to the beach, and I went in Dover with my grandfather, and there'd be these little huts to change your clothes in, to put your swimsuits on. So I always, I don't know, I just love this image because of that. Brings back happy, happy, happy memories. All right, so I'm going to get started, and if you have any questions, just ask them. There's several of us on here that can answer questions. And I am going to start with, let's see, with my VO5, VO6, and VO1. That's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to lay these out. And then I'm also going to get out my BG13, BG11, and let me grab the other one. Here it is, BG23. So I'm going to start with this house right here, this little hut right here. So I'm going to start with my darker color, the V, so it's V09, VO5, and V01. So that's what I'm going to start with. And I'm going to take off both ends because I've had some issues with these markers. So I'm going to do 1, 2, so I'm going to start right here. So I hope everybody's having a good Friday evening. I always tell my students, I'm going to turn this sideways. And this is from SheepSki Design. I'm going to turn this sideways as I'm coloring right here. And then I'll take the little piece of paper off after I get started. Get a little bit more colored. I don't want anybody to steal the image, so kind of trying to keep it protected. Try to see who else is on. Nobody. If you say hi, then I know you're on. And if you don't say hi, I don't know you're on. I was debating about, in my head, I really saw these as weathered. And I thought, oh, wouldn't that be kind of cool to do these as weathered instead of newly painted. So I thought I would do this image again as though it's winter time. Color back after our live. I don't know. Can somebody tell me if they can see me or not? Because on my phone, other phone, it says that I'm disconnected, but on my camera, it doesn't. So if I'm okay, please tell me I'm okay. I'm sorry about that. My mother always calls more than once when she calls. So I'm hoping that I'm still live. Okay, I'm going to let this dry just a little bit. Sorry, my mom frazzled me. Okay, I'm going to use BG13, BG11, and BG23. And like I said, in my head, I actually saw these weathered. And I think I will do another card with them, with the warm grays and kind of weathered over the paint. And see how that comes out. And then post them both. Because I just think that would be kind of an interesting look. So you're here. Okay. Oh, I can see you. Thank you, Fatima. Yeah, I was worried that it disconnected me. You know, I live in a very rural area and our internet is not the best. So I'm just going back and forth between BG23, BG13, and BG11. And then I'm going to go back in where I have done the deeper color of the kind of purpley color. I'm going to go back in, but I want my paper to dry just a little bit. It's a little bit wet, so I don't want to oversaturate it because I really want the color to blend a little bit more than it's blended there. So don't be afraid to go over your images more than once or twice, however many times you need, 3 or 4, however many times you need, until you get the look you want. So just don't be afraid. And there we go. So I am going to go over that one, like I said, a little bit more once it dries a little bit. So there we go. And then I'm going to do this set of stripes. So I'm just kind of going back and forth. I know I got a lot of markers out, but I don't know. That's what happens when you color. And so all the people that are in the UK, you guys are up really late, and I really, really appreciate it. And if anybody ever wants to catch the replay, I do post the videos. I process them and post them. And then they're on my Facebook page, and then they're on YouTube, so I keep them in case anybody wants to watch them at a later time. Like tonight, I will edit out that phone call so that whoever watches the replay doesn't catch all that. So I'm going to go back in, try to pull this out just a little bit. Yeah, see? Now it's taking on color a little bit better. Just kind of pull that out. And I'm going to go back with my lighter color. And I do try to take both ends off, because otherwise, you know, you can have a great big blob of ink. And, you know, kind of ruins all your coloring. Editing, it's not too difficult, Fatima. I just use the free program on Windows 10. But on my phone, I have a paid program. And my paid program, it is nicer. I'll admit, it is nicer. But on the phone, it's so small to, you know, to edit, that I do prefer doing it on the laptop. The part that takes forever is actually uploading it to Facebook. That takes the most. But when you edit, then you have to process. And so while it's processing, it can take about an hour. And then once it's processed, then you got to upload it to Facebook, or not Facebook, to YouTube, and that can take hours and hours and hours. But you can use a program called Handbrake that will make your uploads faster. You know, so there are workarounds that you can do. But editing's not hard. It's just trimming it and cutting off the parts you don't want. I don't do a lot of fancy editing. You know, I don't have a lot of time. Maybe later on I might do fancier editing. And then sometimes I put the, like I put several of the cards together and then do put it to music. And that's kind of fun if I want to have a theme. And I do that on my phone. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Gail. Yeah, it's not so bad once you do it a few times. That's what Gail says, and that's right. It's not so bad once you do it a few times. You get the hang of it, and it's okay. You know, like anything, the more you do it, the better you get at it. At least that's how I feel. The better you get at it. Now, see, I think this is a little dark on the corners, so I'm trying to blend that out a little bit. And I will let it dry, and then I'll go back into it. And I'll go over this a couple times. Looks a little harsh while you are coloring, and then it comes together when you, after all your colors are there, it kind of comes together. So don't let color scare you, because when you're coloring, it does look a little harsh. Then it lightens up as you get all your colors together, and you get your grass and your sand. And oh, I made a little mistake there because I was chit-chatting. No worries. No worries. If you were painting a building, you might do the same thing. So no worries. We'll fix it in a minute. This way you can see you can have accidents, and it's okay. I'm going to pull this out this way. This way up. And then I will go over this little area where I made a little boo-boo. Happens. I'm just going to take my marker here. Try to cover that up a little bit. Now this one is a little, see, it covered it up. This one's a little darker than I really want. And it's very juicy, so it's really saturating my paper. a little bit more than I would want, a little darker. Yep, see, that one is kind of bubble, kind of got a big glob getting ready to come out. So I'm going to put it down, let it sit for a minute. So I'm just going back and forth. So I'm going to take this one, and see, I'm marrying the colors together a little bit, because I want to pull this out just a little bit, like that. See? I think that just helps it. So I'm just marrying the colors together. If you don't have every color, I don't have every single Copic color there is. So this is just what I do to kind of make a third color. So if you don't have every single color, you can create your own colors by, say, just blending it together. There we go. Now I'm happier with that. So I'm going to put my lid back on, so don't make a mistake. And, oh, thank you, Dawn. Dawn's good at sharing. Dawn and Sharon both are really good at sharing. I'm not, I do share other people's videos, but my own, I'm not like, I can't do it. I can't do it when I'm in the middle of coloring, or right before I color. I don't know why. I'm not good at it. Dawn's got it down to a science, and so does Sharon. So I'm really thankful to them. Now this one bled just a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to go back over it. Let this dry a little bit. We'll go back over it and kind of cover that up. So it'll be okay. That's because this one is really, I mean, it's like really, really, really a lot of ink in it. So I'm just going to go over here like this. Oh, sorry, baby's crying upstairs. I hope that's not, you guys don't hear it. She's okay. She's with my husband. She's not by herself or anything. Sorry about that. I'm underneath the, I'm in the basement. I'm underneath our kitchen floor. So you can kind of hear everything, especially when somebody does the dishes or walks. We live out in the country, so we have a pump. So once the water goes on, you're going to hear noise down here. Okay, so now I'm going to do this little piece up top, and it's quite small, so I'm not going to do 3 colors up here. I'm just going to do it, kind of go in here with the one, like this. What I'm going to do is go over it on the one side a little bit more, so that way it has some shading. And then I'm going to do the roof line. And for the roof, I'm going to use a green. Kind of make these, you know, in the United States we call these cabanas. I don't know what if you use cabana in the UK or not. When I was little and I was going with my grandparents to the beach, they would rent these little huts for the day. But they also had them where you could just go and change your clothes and you just used it for a few minutes. I don't know. Maybe in California they might have them. I know I saw them in Florida when I was looking at a community we were thinking about moving to. So I'm just kind of going back and forth with my colors. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I told you what this was. G03 and G02. So I'm just kind of going back and forth. I hope I'm not doing this too quickly. I don't know, it's the adrenaline, I think, when you do lives, that you kind of move quickly. If you want to watch somebody move really quickly, you should tune in to Gail Sue, Stamping with Gail Sue, because Gail is very quick. But man, she makes the most beautiful cards. Very creative. But she is quick. But I think some of it is adrenaline. I don't know, I love lives. I like watching and following people that do lives. So, if you have any questions, just, feel free to ask them. And no one can steal the image. Oh, yes, the paper's on here so that someone doesn't freeze it and steal the image. I used to put washi tape on, but a couple of times my paper got torn as I took off the washi tape, and I was okay. I recovered just fine, but you know, makes you a little nervous when your paper tears and you're doing a live. But I kind of covered it with my sentiment one time, and the other time I just colored over the torn paper, and it came out okay. So you just have to, you know, anything can happen during a live. You just kind of got to go with it. Alright, so I'm just going back and forth. And then after this dries, I'm going to go over this just a little bit more. Because this purple kind of bled a little bit. Purple and red are hard colors to work with because they do bleed a lot. So you have to be careful. I remember the beach that I went to in England with my grandmother had stones. And we used to take stones back and make a rock garden. We had a rock garden going at her house. So I'm going to use this V01 out in her yard. But I remember all those stones when we would walk across the beach. Not sand like we have here in the United States. So quite a bit different. Beautiful memories. You know, your childhood memories sometimes can be your sweetest, can't they? So I'm just going across, and I'd say this marker here, see, it's kind of streaking. So I'm making sure I have my lid off because I'm afraid that, you know, at any moment I could have a bit of a blob. I'm just kind of going over this one corner here. Now see it's streaking just a little bit. So I'm going to take this one, take both ends off because I don't want to mess. I'm just going to go over this top part right here. Make it a little bit darker on top. There we go. And I'm going to go into my window and let me get my, oh, I'm using E40, and I'm using the E40 for the windows. So I'm just kind of going over it lightly. A little bit more over here in this one corner. So just kind of pulling it together. And then I'm going to take my C4 for my door handle right here. There we go. And see, the purple's kind of bleeding a little bit. I would not, you know, during a live, you can't just pitch it. You can't just pitch an image and say, oh, I'm not going to use this one. You got to carry on. So we're just going to carry on. There we go. All right, so I'm going to turn my image. I'm trying not to make you dizzy. And I'm just going to put it like that. Pretty much, I don't think we need it any more because if someone's going to steal the image, well, I guess they could steal it and just have 2 beach huts if they wanted. But we're going to hope that, I don't know how often that really happens. I don't know. But you just never know. There's unscrupulous people out there sometimes. Thank you, Sandra. Yeah, it's a shame that somebody would come and that somebody would steal an image. That's just a shame. Now this one, I am not doing every board a different color because I think these little houses would be all different from each other, painted differently from each other, because you would want a beach setting to be nice and cheerful. I love the sea, the ocean. It's my favorite thing. I wish I could live by the ocean, but very pricey. Taxes are very pricey if you live by the ocean. But I love watching ships come in and, you know, come in and leave and go in and out. I think it's so beautiful. And hearing the waves. So this image really spoke to me. I thought, oh my gosh, I have to do this one. So I'm just using my lighter color. And then I'm going to go back in again with my darker color. And this is YR2 and YR00. And see, this is a chow. This is a sketch. But the ink's the same. It's just this one has less ink in it. So that's the difference. And then I do also have, let me see if I have one here. This is the original, which I think they are maybe doing away with. And this is the original, and it doesn't have the brush tip. It has a bullet tip instead. But the ink is all the same. So, you know, whatever is on sale is what you should try to grab. They all work together just fine. Actually, the bullet tip is kind of nice sometimes if you want really, I'm just marrying my colors together a little bit, if you're wanting really fine lines. So it's not a disadvantage to have that, actually. Yeah, so here we go. I'm just going to pull that down. So see, I don't have a third color, so I'm just using what I have and making my own third color. And there we go. So I'm just coming down, and I'm doing little flicks. I hope that you can see okay. If you want me to make the image larger, I can do that. If you want me to zoom in, I can do that. You just can't see this, the SheepSki Designs shop name. So let me know if you want me to zoom in. I'll be more than happy. Hi, Cynthia. How are you? Yes, very different than this. I'm not sure what you guys were talking about. Some big designers have lost sets due to theft during electronic means. Sometimes they put them up with branding. Yes. Yes. Well, you know, I mean, if someone wants to steal, there's lots of ways they can steal. It's hard. Even with watermarked images can get stolen. So, you know, if you're good with like GIMP or Photoshop or any of those programs, Adobe, the different programs, you know, you can manipulate images and do things. So it's really sad. Very sad. I feel sorry for the designers. It must be frustrating to try to always stay ahead of what's happening out there. But we're here to have fun, so we're all enjoying what we're doing right here, right now. So okay. Just making sure I'm using the correct one. And I feel like the sun is hasn't done a lot of damage to these because it's kind of back in here. Well, it's going to be back in there because I'm going to do a bit of a background. So it is going to be back in there. So let me put my lids back on. And now we will do our roof and the base of our house here. And so for that, I am going to use Y38 and Y23 and a little bit of Y14. So I'm just going right here, just in the very edge. These are happy colors. I'm going to go ahead and do this down here. These are very happy colors. I think the beach is, you know, usually a happy place, isn't it? Let's pull this out a little bit. I love the smell of the salt. That's like my favorite thing. Here we have, well, I go to Tybee Island a lot, and I love the marsh. It has a certain kind of odor, and I just love it. My favorite place to go. And I love walking on the beach and hearing the waves crash. That's something I used to love to do, especially if I was thinking and had deep thoughts. I would do that. So I'm just kind of doing the same thing, kind of mixing my colors together. Now what you can do is you can do it from inside your lid. Pick up color if you want, if you have enough color inside your lid, but I just do it this way. Oh, it works for me. You got to find what works for you. here we go. There we go. Okay, I'm going to just put my lids back on before anything happens. I am really very bad about putting the wrong lid on the wrong thing. So that's why I'm double checking. And see, I actually already did. So Y38, Y38. So this is right here. There we go. Now I'm going to do the door. So I'm going to do my door. Let's see. Let's do this in the BG11. Kind of give it some interest having it a different color, I think. There we go. Bright and cheerful. Then I'm going to go over this a couple of times, over in here. Kind of give it a little bit of shading. The more times you color, do a layer, do your layers, see the more depth it will have. So I'm just kind of doing it like that. Then I'm going to go in again with my E41, wherever I set it at. Let's see, to do my window. Yeah, E40. E40 to do my window. Now I'm going to take a blender pen. Let me see where my blender pen is at. And I'm going to go over this door just a little bit because it's a little streaky. And this is not, I mean, that's a brand new marker, so I don't know why it was so streaky. So I'm just going to take this blender pen and just kind of, see, pull it down to, it's deceiving. They say blender pen, but it's almost more of a bleach. I'm going to put it in here just a little bit because I think it was just a little too streaky. There we go. So, okay. Now, oh, I got to do the doorknob on this one. Right here, like so. And I'm going to go in again with my Y38, and I'm just going to do the edge here a little bit more. There we go. A little bit more and a little bit more over here. Like I said, you can go over your images as many times as you feel you need to do it to kind of get the look you want. Yep. Okay, so now we're going to do this last house, and we're going to do this one in pinks. And so I'm going to do this in RV04 and RV02 and a little bit of RV14. So this one is also going to be, see, a little more solid. I'm just kind of pulling it out. And this one, very, like it's coming out very quickly. So I'm going to turn my paper. And just kind of turn it so it's a little easier to work with. And I hope I'm not making you feel dizzy. So I'm going over this kind of a couple of times as I color. See, and I'm just pulling it out. I'm trying to be careful here. There we go. And when we get done, the image will be, it'll all pull together. It'll be cute. And then I am going to try to do a bit of a weathered one, just because I'm kind of seeing it in my head, and I thought I'd like to see what it would look like if I do the wood as weathered. I think that'd be kind of fun. So I'm just kind of going back and forth and trying to pull the color out just a little bit. Just back and forth, back and forth. And I'm going with my RV02. And I'm going to pull this out. See, there we go. There we go. Nice and bright. This one's more bright than the other ones. And that's fine. And we're going to go over this a couple of times. And really, I'm kind of pushing towards my color instead of pulling out so much. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to pull out a little bit. So I'm trying to pick up the color and pull it out. So that's what I'm trying to do right here. So I'm picking up the color on the tip of my marker, picking it up and kind of pulling it out like this. Gail lives in Florida, and I think she lives about, I think she said about 20 miles from the beach. I'd be going to the beach all the time if I was Gail. Thank you, Cynthia. That is cheerful. I can hear the seagulls and smell the ocean. Yes. Oh my gosh. I love the ocean. I actually moved here to Indiana from Savannah, Georgia. I actually lived by the ocean. And I truly, I always thought I could go back. You know, you always think you could go back. Then you have children and life kind of takes on, you know, takes on its own direction. And now when I go back to visit, I mean, I can't afford a house there. I can't afford the taxes. And I think, oh my God, I had a house. What was I doing giving up that house? There we go. But, you know, when we're young, sometimes we make some stupid decisions. At least I did. I wasn't always the smartest. So I'm going back with my BG13, BG11, and my BG23. And I'm going to use this one here. And I just hope I'm in frame still. Kind of using the same colors over and over again because, you know, it kind of ties it in. And I do feel like that is, you know, if they were painting this, that is what would happen. That the painter would use the paint they have on hand. So I was just checking to see where that baseboard, how far down it went. I'm just flicking it. I don't know if you can kind of hear. I'm flicking. There we go. I'm going to go back again. So I'm putting a couple of coats on when I'm doing this and pulling it out a little bit further each time with each layer. See? Kind of pulling it out. That's what gives it its depth. And then I take the lightest color. See? There you go. And pull that across. Just kind of going like this. There we go. So, sorry, I'm going to move it back up again on you. Alright, now I'm going to do the door. And so for this one, I think I'll do the door kind of in the orangey color. So I'm going to take my Y02. Just kind of, I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix something that's a little messy. We're going to do a sky, so you don't necessarily have to fix it because the sky would cover it up a bit, but I'm going to still show you how to do it in case you're, if you color outside a bit, you know, your markers bleed, how you can kind of fix it. So I'll show you in just a moment. I mean, there's all different ways you can fix it, but I'll show you how I fix it. So I'm going to pull this out, and I'm not doing as many layers on the door because I think doors, you know, they get a little bit more weathered quicker. So I'm going to do the window. I'm going to go back in and do the window a little bit on this edge because I wanted it a little bit darker on the edges there. And then I'm going to go back in, do my doorknob. Find my color here. Here we go. Okay, let me just show you how you could fix. If you have a little bit of a going over, I gotta find my white gel pen. Here we go. Oh, that might be my broken one. So if you have a white gel pen, what you can do is, like right here, you can color it, and it'll, see, where it kind of bled. Then it covers it up. Now Copics has like a ink that you can use to do that with, but it's kind of pricey, so it's cheaper to do this, and it will cover it up All right, so now I'm going to do the chair. And then I'm going to do the ball after that. And then we're going to do the sand and the water, and then I'm going to do the background. So, and on this door, I'm going to put just a little bit more right in here around the edges. Give it a little bit more depth. A little bit around the window. See, give it a little bit more depth there. And on this one too. So you can go back over your images as many times as you need. A lot of times what I do is when I'm taking a picture, I look through the camera and then I go look at it. And then sometimes I see then, oh, I need to go over my image a little bit more, and I'll go back over it again. Okay, let's do the chair. So I am using B16, B12, and B14. And, oh, thank you, Dawn. She likes to come. I haven't been once. You haven't been to the beach yet? Oh, my gosh, Gail. You need to get to that beach. Oh, my goodness. That's like the first thing I do when I go someplace and there is a beach. I like to just, I don't know, I just like to go and walk on the beach and hear the waves and kind of take it all in. It's my first stop. And I've been very, very, very lucky because I have been to, I've grown up moving, and I have gone to a lot of places that have a beach. I have a lot of happy memories. So I'm just going where I feel that it would be a bit darker. And this is B16, and I'm trying to be careful. I'm a little heavy-handed, so I'm trying to be careful. I'm just going down the edge. Now you could make the chair striped, but I felt that since I had the house behind it striped, that it would be a little overpowering. So I just went with a solid color. So I'm going to just pull this down, pull the color kind of down, pull it up a little bit, and pull it down. I'm just going, working it back and forth, kind of working back and forth, and just pulling it down. Then I'm going to take my B12 and bring this down. Just kind of bring it down. Kind of flicking. Then over here. See, like that. Oh, I'm out of frame. Sorry. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. There we go. So sorry. So sorry. I'm going to do it a second time anyway, so you can kind of see. So I'm going to take my B16, and I'm just doing the top of the chair, like this, down the side, just very lightly, right here at the crevice, and right here at the bottom, just very, and up there. Then I'm going to take my B14, make sure I have the right one, my B14, or actually it's B12 rather. Pull this color down. See, I'm just flicking. Pull it up a little bit. Here from the side. Right in here. Pull it up a little bit. And then I'm going to go back with my lighter color, my B12. And just go down like this. See? There we go. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'm going to take my C4, and I have another, let me find where I set it at, C2. So I'm just going to take this, and doing the folding part of the chair, just doing the tip, see, like this, and right here, right over here, back here where it's underneath the chair is going to be a little darker, right in here. Going to come down, come up. Right here's a little piece. So I'm going to come down a little bit. So I'm going over it a second time, taking it a little bit further down. See? A little bit and a little bit more here. So what I'm doing is I laid a second layer, and I pulled it out further this time. Then I'm going to take my lighter marker, my C2, and I'm going to go down it. See, just very gently. There we go. So this gives us some depth, a little bit of shading, and you can go over this more than once. There we go. Now I'm going to do my ball, and I did this with 2 shades of red. I'm going to use R24 and R27, and so I'm going to do a little bit here, a little darker right here. You know, red is the color that is tends to bleed a lot, so you got to be very careful with reds. So here we go. And I'm going to take my R24 and I'm going to pull down. See, I'm pulling down, and I'm kind of pulling it down and pulling it down. Now I'm going to go where I already have red and pick up some of the color on the tip and pull it up to meet this other color. And that way I'm kind of getting 3 colors out of the 2. Alright, so I'll do that again. So I have my darker color here. Then I take my lighter color at the top. And I'm just kind of coming down. See, I'm coming down. Then I'm going to pull my darker, I'm getting it on the tip, and I'm pulling it up. And so that gives me 3 colors that way. So that's, you can do that instead of marrying your colors together. That's another way to kind of do it. So now we're going to use blue, and I'm going to do the same thing with my blue. I'm going to take my B14 and my B12. So I'm going to just do like this. I'm going to take my B12 up here at the top. And pull it down where they're not really touching each other. And I'm going to take this one and pick up the color and meet it. And see, that gives it some natural shading. It kind of creates 3 colors that way. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's see. So let's put our ends back on. Like I said, I am notorious for putting the wrong lids on, so I'm just trying to do it correctly so I don't mess up. Now I'm going to take my B12 and kind of very lightly, there we go. All right, so now I'm going to put these ones away, and then we are going to work on the water and on our sand. So I'm using B00 and B000 for the water, and I'm going to do the sand with my E42 and my E21, and then I'm doing the well, it's not seagrass, but it's not seaweed, seagrass. It is seagrass. G99 and YG03. So those are the colors I'm going to use. Am I out of frame again? I hope not. I hope I caught it. Okay, I think I'm okay. I think I caught it. I think you were saying that for when I was out of frame. All right, so I'm going to take my BG00, and I am going to go here where there's some like little ripples. See, just doing the ripples. And right here is a little bit of water up here. So there we go. I almost feel like that's some water too. And I'm going to go back in with my B00, and I'm going to just kind of pull this out. See? Pull it out. And when we do the sky and all, it'll all come together. Just kind of doing this lightly. A little bit lightly here. And this is called Beach Hut Holiday. And I wish I was on holiday right now. I am going to go on holiday in March, and I am going to go by the beach. So I'm going to take my B12. Now I'm not putting a lot of layers here because I just wanted it to be kind of faint. So just kind of going over the ripples. This is B12. Ripples a little bit over here and over in here. There we go. I'm going to do it again a little bit. There we go. See, kind of a soft look. Now we're going to do our, I'm actually going to go ahead and do the seagrass. Yeah, I think this is seagrass. I think that's what you call it. I'm just doing this. And then and this is a YG03, and I'm going to try to pull the color up a little bit. Pull it up a little bit. It's over here too. Kind of over in here. Then I'm going to take my marker like this. Kind of blend it a little bit. One day I'll have all the markers in the set of Copics. And then I think I will still blend. Because I just think it kind of gives you the colors you want. There we go. I don't know if anybody has any questions or not. I was just trying to look to see. Oh, thank you, Sharon. You can hear the ocean. I can hear the ocean. Maybe I hear the ocean in my head all the time. All right, so we are going to do the sand. And then we're going to do the sky and try to do a little bit of a sun. So I'm going to take my two markers, and I'm just off to the side trying to determine which one is a little darker. Okay, so I'm going to, just like this, just kind of like this. There we go. And over in here, and just kind of give it some definition over in here, and right in here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of lightly, I hope I'm in frame, kind of lightly. And so these would be like sand dunes that are behind it. When I was little and I lived at Tybee, I used to run and jump into the sand dunes. I used to love them so much. Dive into them. Crazy things we do as a kid. So I'm just going to kind of lightly, go over this. And it's really sort of an illusion. And this paper that I'm using has shimmer in it, so actually it makes it look like sparkly sand. So that actually kind of worked out to my favor here. This is Sweet Sentiment paper, which I love using it. I'm just kind of pulling this out. A bit more. Back here, and then we're going to do a sky and try to do a little bit of a sun back in here. I'm just going to take this marker and kind of blend it together, just kind of give it a little bit different colors in it. There we go. And go back over this a little bit. Kind of give it a richer color. A little bit over there. There we go. Like that. I just think coloring is so relaxing. There we go. Put this on, and we're going to do a bit of a sky back here. And then we'll assemble our card. So I'm going to try to put it back in frame. The grass on the sand dunes. Oh yes, got to go back to the grass on the sand dunes right in here. There's little pieces of it. See, little pieces. You know what else is, well, here in the States, we have briars, sand briars. I don't know if you've ever gotten those stuck in your feet or not. Not the most pleasant feeling. So I'm just going to go over it a little bit more and over it a little bit more. Kind of give it a little bit more interest right in there. Right in here. Like that. And you know, you can go over these images, like I said, as many times as you feel you need till you get the effect you want. So I will do it like I look at it after I get everything kind of colored, and then I sometimes add a little bit more color to it. All right, so I'm going to take my trusty, this is cardstock, see, I made it into, it's my clouds. And so what I'm going to do is, I had my sun over here. I almost feel like it should be over here, like it should be on this side. So I think we'll do that. We'll put the sun on this side. And I'm just using the tip of my cloud to be my sun. And I take my blender. This is just a makeup brush that I bought from Amazon. And I'm taking a yellow. And this is a Stampin' Up! So Saffron. And I'm just taking it, and I'm actually kind of rubbing it in here. See, I have water colored with these. That's why it's on there. You can push this together, and that gives you it makes the glue, the stamp, the ink stick, and you can kind of watercolor. So I'm just kind of pushing this off. See, like so. Just kind of pushing it off. Then I'm going to go back in here like this with my ink, my stamp pad, like this, and just kind of try to give it kind of a glow is what I'm trying to do. So it looks like it's the sun. Then I'm going to take my Distress ink, which it is Squeezed Lemonade, and I'm just rubbing my brush off, and I'm doing it off to the side on my glass. See, just to give it a little bit more yellow. There we go. A little bit more of a, and I'm just kind of pulling it because it wouldn't be perfect. It's kind of more of a glow. So there we go. So that is going to be our sun. And so now I'm going to wipe this off, and I'm just cleaning off my brush like this. And you can, you know, of course, lay it down and do it. So you take your piece of paper, and what I do is, I want it to come down. So I'm going to start about right here, and I'm going to use my Distress Oxide, and I'm using Salty Ocean, and I'm going to do it off here on the glass a little bit. And what you do is you just kind of brush up on your paper. So you just kind of brush up, and you just kind of follow the edge of your paper, and then you can cut this any way you want with your scissors and make your own template. Alright, see? And there I've got, and what I can see, I did two sides, so I can kind of and it's just lightly, so it gives it a different kind of cloud. And I just brush up. So you start on your paper and you just brush up like that. Then when you move your paper, see, you have some clouds. So then I'm going to come down and make these a little bit, maybe move it this way. See? So I just take my ink and just kind of brush up. And if it's not the way you want, you can go over it again. So I'm taking my ink, I'm rubbing it here to the side, just kind of brush up a little bit. I did a card the other night from SheepSki called Tango, and I was making myself a universe background. And I used purples and pinks and things, and I just used this. That's how I did it. So I'm covering my roof line, and I'm just brushing up, see, like so. And then I come down and do it a little bit more. Brush up. Yeah. And then a little bit down here. Trying to be careful because I don't want to mess up my little houses. There we go. And so it kind of gives us clouds and the sun. Now sometimes I go over this in between with, say, a yellow or an orange, but we have a lot of colors going on down here, so I don't want to add too many colors. So there is, this is our colored image. Let me pull this. There we go, because now we're going to work on assembling our card. And I am making a 6x6 card, and because this is so colorful and all, I'm not popping it up. And what I did is this is digipaper here, right here, and so I cut a mat, and I'm just going to put this down, and I'm using my art glitter glue. Now sometimes I like to pop up my cards, but because this was such a colorful image, I just felt like it would distract from it. Instead of adding to it, it would distract, and I didn't want to do that. After you do all that coloring, I mean, you want your image to be this focal point, so you have to kind of decide how many layers and what all you want to have on your cards. And sometimes lots of layers really emphasize your image, and sometimes it can distract. And since we've got all these colors going on, I just felt like it would distract. So here we go. This is why I use the art glitter glue, because you can reposition to your heart's content until you press down. And so that, like I said, this is a 6x6 card, and this is just blue paper that I use for my mat, and then I cut the digipaper 1/8 of an inch shorter all the way around. And so I'm just going to put this on and position it. I'm better when I stand up and do this. There we go. So I thought I would put this in the center like this, and that's why I'm not going to pop it up, because it's a colorful, pretty image, and I'm pretty happy with it being this focal point. So I'm just centering it. I thought these colors behind sort of reminded me of the water, and I am just going to take my phone's about to die. Sorry. Move my arms out of the way. I can't see your comments because my phone's about to die, in case anybody has asked anything. So there we go. And then I made my sentiment from a stamp set, and it says, we do not remember days, we remember moments. And this was, oh, I don't know if I have it handy or not. Oh yeah, it's just a stamp set from, says KI, I got it on clearance even, KI, oh, Hampton Arts, and it has famous sayings on it. I just thought that was kind of appropriate. So we do not remember days, we remember moments. So I'm just gonna, and I matted it with the same blue background. So put that on here, and then I'm just gonna put this right over here like so. So this card is a flat card, not a lot of dimensions, so this one would be easier to mail. Now if you're going to mail it here in the States, 6x6 cards, they're square, so it costs a little extra to mail it, or you could get a rectangular envelope, a bigger one, but I just pay the extra. It's not that much extra to mail it. Now see, I take a picture when I get done, and I look through my camera to see, do I need to do any more shading anywhere, because sometimes I feel like you need just a little bit more. And you can always go back and touch up, just like I'm doing right here. and add a little bit more. I just feel like it needs a little bit more right in there. So any place you feel like you should touch up, you can always go back and touch up a little bit more, add more layers. The more layers you add, the more depth that you have. So there's nothing wrong with going in, see, and touching up a little bit. So I wanted you to see that you can do that. There's no problem. All right, so that is our card. And I think it's so, I love the colors. I love the ocean. It's kind of fun. Fun to have a summer day, especially here. It's a little dreary here in Indiana. A little cold. Oh, you like the quote, Cynthia? I do too. It says it's by Caesar, I don't know, Paverne? Caesar Paverne? I don't know. I don't know who that is. The other ones are people I know, like Mother Teresa and Audrey Hepburn. Happiness comes through the doors when you didn't know it was open. If you obey the rules, you miss the fun. Katharine Hepburn. I think that's cute. But here we go. I just thought this was appropriate. We do not remember days, we remember moments, which is true. I was telling you all about going to the beach on at Margate and Dover, the White Cliffs of Dover. I will forever remember that. When I tell people here, they're like, what? Where? But, you know. Anyway, oh, thank you. Yes, fun card. I do think it's a fun card. Well, I am so glad you guys joined me tonight, and I will be having another live on Sunday. I'm doing another image with a P&D, so, but this is SheepSki Designs, and kind of got ink all over my paper. She has an Etsy shop where you can buy the image if you're interested in it, and it's Beach Hut Holiday. And I'll put all the details on my blog with the colors I used. I'll lay it all out in case you want to do the same thing and color along. And I will talk to you guys later. Good night.